What's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to be showing you how to change the oil on this 2018 Toyota RAV4. This is a front-wheel drive, non-all-wheel drive, and non-hybrid version. Should be easy enough. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so for this job, you're really just going to need a basic set of hand tools here. This is going to be a 3/8 drive wrench that we're going to use, or a socket wrench that we're going to be using, along with the 14mm socket. So not much there. We have the filter itself. This is a replacement. That's the part number. This is direct from Toyota. Here are some crush washers replacements. Got these off of Amazon. A funnel is going to make life a whole lot easier when you're filling it up with the oil. This one's going to be getting the Mobile 10W20 Advanced Fuel Economy. I do also have the MotivX Tools filter kit, and so this has the filter wrench along with the filter drain tool itself. Hopefully going to make it a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to change out the filter itself. So that's really all the tools that we're going to need. If there's anything else that pops up along the way, I'll let you know. Of course, some rubber gloves also make it a little bit easier for cleanup at the end. So let's go ahead and start using these tools. One other thing that really makes this a lot easier is, of course, that's a given. You do need the oil drain pan along with some ramps. These are just some homemade ramps that I made by screwing together a few 2x8s. So it makes life a whole lot easier when you're trying to squeeze in underneath. All right, so quick note with this car. This car has definitely not hit its maximum mileage, but this car does just mostly sit around. So the time itself, this oil hasn't been changed in over a year. In terms of miles driven, it's probably only been a couple thousand at most. So the oil does look pretty dirty at this point. So, definitely a good time to change it. You don't want to always just go by mileage. If the car isn't driven a lot, you still want to make sure that you get the oil changed out because it does degrade over time. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Like I said, the oil's looking a little bit dirty. We're going to go in underneath here and then start draining oil. All right, so first things first, like I said, is getting this oil drain plug taken off. This takes a 14mm on your ratchet. I've already loosened this because, again, I don't like struggling on camera. And once you get it loosened up, and this car, the oil is going to be warm. It was just driven not too long ago. So just be careful that you don't burn yourself, but this oil shouldn't be too hot. But always want to make sure that you run the car a little bit. That way the oil drains a lot easier. So got lucky that time. I did catch the nut. Didn't fall in the pan. Going to take a quick look after this is done draining to make sure that the crush washer isn't stuck, although I do see it here. Looks like on the nut itself for the bolt. So we'll go ahead and get that removed. But at this point, there it is. So as you can see, there's the crush washer and there's the nut itself. So we'll get a new one of these put on. These are from Amazon. You can buy them. I bought a package of like 20 or something. It was like $10, so it'll last me quite a long time. Everyone in the family drives Toyotas, so they are interchangeable. So we're going to go ahead and let this drain, and then we'll get back to the next part. While the oil is draining as well, you could also go ahead and open up on the engine side, top of the engine side. Open up and take off the oil cap. And as far as that goes, that's just right up here, top left side of the engine. All right, so once that is pretty much done draining, which looks like it is here, just gonna wipe this off, clean it up a little bit, and then we're gonna, like I said, get a new crush washer, put it on the old drain plug, and then stick it right back in, and then get it finger tight. Now, there are torque specifications for this that I will link in the description. However, I'm going to just go hand tight. Which again, if you're not comfortable, you can get it to torque. But that right there is good for that. I'm going to move the drain pan over here because we're going to start working on the filter itself. So again, with the MotivX tools, like I showed you in a previous video, we're going to take this silver cap off of the filter housing itself. We're going to screw this top black part in. Once that's screwed in, we're going to screw the red one in, where it's going to push this out here and then allow that oil to drain through the tube. Makes it a little bit cleaner. So again, I've already pre-loosened that as well, because struggling on camera is not my thing. Once you get this off, it's probably going to leak just a little bit of oil, but most of it should stay in there. Again, like so. Screw this in. Midway through that, I decided to cut the hose itself too, because it's just going to make it a lot easier to drain here, which was a struggle on the last time. I think that's what made it a little bit less convenient to do. And there you go. You can see that the oil just started flowing. And again, this is just what's in the filter housing itself. So it's not going to be that much. But if you didn't have this, the oil filter comes with its own. You can just attach a hose to it, but this is just a little bit cleaner. Again, if you didn't have this, you would just be unscrewing the filter housing itself, and then all of it just pours out. A little bit still probably will, but nowhere near as much as it would if you didn't have this. So just going to let that run for about a minute or so, and then take this back off, and then take the filter housing off. All right, so once it's pretty much done, you're going to start with unscrewing the red nut here. That's going to stop the flow. And all this is just hand tight. You don't have to get this super tight. That'll give you a positive stop. You know it's closed. And then from the black one, I just wipe that down a little bit before you put it back. Put it to the side. And then the next thing, we're going to go ahead and attach the oil filter housing wrench. Make sure you've got it put all the way on. And then, so this was on pretty tight here. So this one took a little bit of force. As you can see, even just now is when it got real loose. So I'm going to take the socket wrench off and then just twist myself. And it's going to drop off. And as you can see, barely any oil spilled out there. So filter again, and what remains left in the actual filter housing by itself. So there it is. We're going to take this out, take the oil filter wrench off, and then go ahead and pop the new oil filter in. All right, so here we do have the new filter itself. The filter also comes with some new rubber gaskets, and this is the drain tool that the filter comes with. Again, so you would stick this end up into where we put in the MotivX tools, and then it would just drain here. So in theory, if you've got a hose that'll fit over this, that would work as well. But I think the MotivX tools makes it a little bit easier. So like I said, we're also going to have to use a pick for this too to get the gaskets off. We've got one right here. You just pull that off, put it to the side. Now we got to get this oil filter wrench off. You could just shimmy it off like so. And then your other gasket is right in here where that drain tool goes. So this leaked a little bit of oil, which is perfect, because the new gaskets you do want to also grease up because they do come out dry. So just take some of that old oil and just lube them all up like so. Then just stick the new gaskets right back on and right into place. And that's on this first ring here that you can see on this housing. And again, inside here. All right, now once you've got the new gaskets installed, new filter goes on like so. And that's it. All we've got to do is just get that, I don't even know what to call that, but that drain nut out or put it back in, and then just go ahead and slide that right back inside. All right, so again, as you can see here, we've got the oil filter housing, and we've got this. Just going to reinstall this just to make sure that that gasket seats properly. And we're just going to get it finger tight, and then just inspect it from all sides and make sure that it's seated evenly. And it looks good to me there. So this is ready to go ahead and be reinstalled now. All right, and so we are back underneath here. So again, here, we're going to just make sure that we put this on hand tight first to make sure that we're not cross threading anywhere. Get it hand tight. And then once you've got that hand tight, just go ahead and install your filter wrench or attach your filter wrench. And get your wrench. And again, I'm sure there's torque specs that I'll find for you, but just nice and tight. So that went on nicely. And then while you're down here, also make sure you can get that drain as well. All right, and so once you've got that reinstalled, you've got your drain plug along with the new crush washer installed. The oil filter housing is nice and snug, as well as the drain. Then you are good to go down here. Next, we're going to go ahead and fill this up with some oil. All right, so of course, as you can see, according to the manual here, the oil capacity for this vehicle with the filter change is 4.6 quarts or 4.4 liters. Without the filter, 4.2 quarts or 4.0 liters. And then again, this does take 0W20. So that's what we're doing with this here. All right, and so like I said, make sure you've got a funnel for this. Otherwise, this is a nightmare. This oil filler is pretty low, so it would be pretty difficult to do without. All right, we got one. Now we got two. Now we got three. And we got four. So these four, we're going in full, getting the whole bottle in there. The next one, we're going to slow down and make sure that we get just under half of the bottle in there. All right, so this is the one that you want to be careful with. If you had ever noticed on these oil cans, there's also a clear part of the bottle here, which gives you an indication of how much oil is in there. So we're going to be getting to about right to this level here to make sure that we're not overfilling this, because you're better off underfilling it right now while it's on the ramps. And then once you get it off and level the vehicle, you can get a better idea of how much you need to actually add. All right, so stop and check. We still got a little ways to go. And so there we are, right at about the halfway point. So I think that's going to be just about perfect. We're going to stop there, get the vehicle off the ramps, and then test it out with the dipstick and see where we're at. Don't forget this rookie move here. Always close this back up when you're done filling before you start the engine. Otherwise, you're going to have a hood full of oil. All right, so while it's running as well, you want to just listen for any funky noises or anything like that. This sounds pretty good. Also, what you can do is just check to make sure that you don't have any leaks, because obviously we untighten and tighten things, so looks like there is no leaks down there, so that's a good sign. All right, so once the car's run for about a minute or two to make sure that that oil is able to cycle through everywhere, we're going to check the dipstick itself. The first time when you pull it out, just wipe it off and then stick it back in to get an accurate reading. So let's take a look and see where we're at here. See if we can get that to focus. There we go. So you can see we're kind of right in between these two dots. That's full and minimum. So I think we're right in a perfect spot there. I'm not going to add any more oil to this because that's right where we want to be. So wipe that off. Stick it back in here. And you are all set. So while you're down here as well, what you can do is take a look and see how your air filter, engine air filter is doing. We'll just pop this off here. And like so, you can see this filter does look pretty clean still. So at most, we might just blow this through, get any filter dust out of there, but overall looking pretty good. So, all right, and once you've just given it a little blow through, and when you do blow, make sure that you go the opposite way of where the air is coming through. The air is getting sucked in this way, going this way to get to the engine itself. So you're blowing this way so that everything that gets sucked in here gets pushed out. So easy enough for this RAV4. It's got some clips back here along with here. These you just stick in to each of the sides there. Here where you can see here, you've got some nubs that stick out and need to make it into those slots. And then once you can tell that it's been seated properly all the way around, just go ahead and install these clips. Both of those. You're good to go. So that is a wrap. Now, just got to pour this oil over into the containers that the new oil came from. And then you could drop this off at your local auto parts store. At least here in Illinois, they do take used oil for recycling. Besides that, just some cleanup. But that is how you change the oil in a 2018 RAV4. I'll show you in a second, actually, too, how to reset the maintenance minder on these two. All right, so for this model Toyota here, you're going to be doing this on the actual gauge cluster itself. So what you're going to do is get to this menu right here where you can move left and right. You're going to go over to the gearbox for the settings and then hit vehicle settings, scheduled maintenance, and then hit reset. That way it resets and it gets rid of that annoying indicator because you have in fact changed your oil. So that's it. All right, everyone. So that is a wrap. That's how you change the oil on a 2018 RAV4 4-cylinder. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this.